Welcome back, viewers. Sage again. You're watching 𝐊𝐴𝐿 TV live from Sydney. This is a Stocks in Action show. We'll be looking at a few recent updates from the ASX listed companies, along with a quick glance at developments across the equity and commodity markets. Let's take a look at the stocks under the spotlight today without any further delays, starting with the first big news. Trading flat, Volpara Health Technologies, a health technology software company whose integrated breast care platform assists in the delivery of personalised breast care, has recently been granted another patent by the European Patent Office, and this takes the total number of patents to 98. As per the company's announcement, this newest patent is applicable in 25 European countries and delineates the Volpara technique of image quantification. The current patent underlines the enhanced evaluation of numerous quantitative measures from low-dose images, allowing a highly accurate assessment of a woman's breast composition at an early age, and also the calculation of her baseline risk of breast cancer. Also, the improvements will help optimise medical workflow. Moving on now to the next news. Shares of mining company Rio Tinto were trading down after the company shared plummeted iron ore production in the second quarter. RIO's Pilbara iron ore production of 75.9 million tonnes was 9% lower from a year ago. It was affected by above average rainfall in the West Pilbara. Shipments by RIO were 12% lower, along with an additional drawdown of inventories. And Rio Tinto says replacement mine tie-ins are materially higher. Rainfall were responsible for a fall in production across a number of its operations during the second quarter. And the company said it expected iron ore shipments would be at a lower end of its guidance range, while mined copper and bauxite production was also expected to be at the lower end of guidance. Rio said the full year titanium dioxide slag production guidance had been removed as a result of risks around the timing of resumption of operations at RBM in South Africa due to an escalation in the security situation. And the next news covers the gold miner Evolution Mining. Shares of Evolution Mining were trading down after the company hiked production forecast. Evolution has hiked its 3-year gold production forecast to 900,000 ounces of low-cost gold over the next 3 years to fiscal year 2024. After disclosing plans to develop its Cal underground mine. Costs are expected to remain relatively stable over the 3-year period as their growth strategy continues to focus on producing high-margin ounces. Investment in sustaining capital is forecast between $120 to $150 million in the fiscal year 2022, with major capital investments tipped between $440 to $510 million for the fiscal year 2022. It reported group cash flow of $327 million for the financial year 2021 on gold production of 680,788 ounces. Its all-in cash production cost averaged $879 an ounce versus an average selling cost of $2,369 an ounce. Let's move on now to the next big news. It covers Strickland Metals, a leading Australian mineral exploration company, and the share price of Strickland Metals was trading up after the company reported increased revenue despite production dips. And Strickland Metals gave an update in relation to its binding agreement with Renegade Exploration to acquire RNX's interest in the tenements that comprise the Yandal East Gold Project. And Strickland shared that the parties have now executed a formal sale and purchase agreement. And as per the company release, the tenements remain subject to a joint venture with Zabina Minerals Pty Limited, whereby RNX holds a 75% interest in the tenements, with Zabina holding the residual interest. And according to the company's release after the acquisition, Strickland is now the 75% owner of the Yandal East Gold Project and will assume RNX's interest in the joint venture. The Yandal East Gold Project lies immediately to the south of the company's flagship Horsewell Gold Project. It is approximately 320 kilometres square in size and lies roughly 30 kilometres due east of Northern Star Resources Limited's 10-metre Jundi operation. Last news to be discussed in this session covers home builder Ingenia Communities Group. Trading in green, Ingenia expects the financial year 2021 EBIT to finish up 30% on the prior year. It said new home settlements of 380 should be up 17% on the prior year. Ingenia Communities Group CEO Simon Owen said that the business delivering such a strong outcome despite the challenges of the last year reflected the momentum across the business and diversity of earnings. And Mr Owen further said that they will exceed their guidance for financial year 21, supported by strong settlements in the last quarter, high occupancy across their residential communities and improved performance from the holidays business from the second quarter. And above the ground home development margins exceeded the first half, and they closed the year with over 300 contracts and deposits in place, demonstrating the growing demand across our development projects, he said in his own words. And now it's time for a short break, but please stay tuned as I'll be back with more trending updates from the Australian market.
Hi, this is Andy Liu broadcasting from 𝐊𝐚𝐥𝐤𝐢𝐧𝐞 Media Studio in Australia, and I'll be hosting the new 𝐊𝐿𝐴𝐚 Wellness Show. The half-hour show will cover topics from how wellness as a concept has become even more significant during COVID, to how becoming vegan may improve your health and much more. We are excited to showcase our live streaming show to our audience of millions overseas and in Australia. Tune in to 𝐊𝐴𝐚 TV and join me.
Welcome back. This is Sage Viewers, your host live from Sydney's 𝐊𝐴𝐚 studio, and you're watching the Stocks in Action show. Let us quickly glimpse through the developments across the equity and commodity markets for you. Firstly, we'll start with the ASX performance. The S&P ASX 200 is trading lower today, dropping 14.50 points or 0.20%. And Evolution Mining Limited is down 5.25%, while Afterpay is trading down by 3.87%. Sectors are mixed. 6 of 11 sectors are lower today, along with the S&P ASX 200 index, and healthcare is the best performing sector, while information technology has been trading lower. And on that note, let us quickly glance through some global developments and its effect on the global market movements. Wall Street slid to lower levels despite the 4 largest US consumer banks declaring blockbuster second quarter results earlier this week. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones eked out a 0.15% gain, but the S&P 500 slid 0.33%. The Nasdaq Composite fell 0.70%. And the benchmark 10-year yields fell 6 basis points on Thursday to 1.297%. Moving on now to the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin fell 3.3%, the lowest level since 27th June 2021, as it reaches around the lower end of a month-long consolidation. Dogecoin was down 4.52% and Ethereum was down 2.49%. Let's take a glance over the commodities. Gold surged to a 1-month high on Thursday on the backdrop of US Fed's Jerome Powell's dovish comments and some concerns regarding a deceleration in the global economic recovery. On Thursday, ferrous futures in China traded higher, with Dalian iron ore extending gains into a 4th consecutive session as China's faltering economic recovery underpinned hopes for additional support measured from the government. The most actively traded iron ore futures contract on the Dalian Commodity Exchange closed the daytime trading 1.6% up, lower than expected growth from the top consumer China, increased expectations for more policy support for the world's second largest economy, resulting in higher copper prices. And the benchmark 3-month copper on the London Metal Exchange was 1.2% higher on Thursday. And before wrapping up the show, let's take a look through some more important global developments. The crude oil prices tumbled nearly $1 per barrel on Thursday on expectations of a supply glut as a spat between Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates came to an end. September delivery crude oil futures traded 0.11% up, whereas the August delivery WTI crude oil futures traded 0.08% down. The slide in crude oil prices was continued Wednesday. Losses after the Kingdom and the United Arab Emirates reached an agreement to supply more crude oil into the market, and talks among the OPEC and its allies, together known as OPEC Plus, broke down this month after the UAE opposed extending the group's supply pact beyond April 2022. A rise in the US crude oil inventories to the week ending 4th July has also weighted the crude oil prices. And thanks for joining us on that report. That's all for now. Stay tuned with 𝐊𝐴𝐼𝐴 TV, however, for more of the live market updates. And we'll be back with more of the news on the markets, economy and diverse themes and sectors. Sage signing off.